Awesome. Well, what's up, guys? It's Mustafa again. I wanted to make a video about numbers tracking. So a couple of the videos that I made, I talk about goal setting and making sure that you track your numbers as far as your daily habits. But I want to make a short little video, maybe a couple minutes long, just to specifically talk about what numbers you should be tracking, right? And so just in trying to break it up into some sort of segments, right, so you can get a little bit more structure out of this, I try to break it into like three main pieces of data that you want to be collecting as far as your numbers go. One would be your leads and your lead sources. Two, you want to be your prospecting efforts. What are you doing to prospecting and how much of it are you doing? And then the last thing would really be productivity, like what are the results of the production that, or the prospecting that you're doing, right? So first off, the leads. What are we tracking in the leads? We want to track the sources, right? So, if you've got open houses, how many you're getting, online leads, how many you're getting, if you're calling your database or sending out letters, how many of that, how many letters are you sending and how many of those are generating calls, right? How much are you paying and how many leads are you actually getting in? So you want to be tracking the sources of where your leads are coming in. Then on top of that, you want to be tracking the actual prospecting that you're doing, right? So this is just the lead sources. The prospecting is going to come down to the actual calls that you make, and out of the calls that you make, how many conversations are you going to have, right? And out of all those conversations, how many appointments are you going to set? And that can be listing appointments for seller prospecting, it could be preview appointments, or it could be buyer appointments like showings or consultations, right? So how many calls, how many conversations, how many appointments set, okay? And what's really, really important to note with this stuff is also track how long it takes you to do that, right? How many calls are you making in a 1 hour period? Or if your goal is to make 30 calls in a day, how much time is it taking you to make those 30 calls? And at different times, if you want to get more creative with it, try to experiment with the times that you're doing this. If you want to do this at 7:30 in the morning, you can track and see how many conversations you're having, do 15 calls then, and then at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening, right around that time, if you want to make more prospecting calls, another 15, 20, and test out to see which time period is going to give you a better answer rate, so to speak, right? So really what we're doing with tracking the data is getting knowledge on our numbers, right? I've said this a bunch of times, real estate is a numbers game. It's very simple. If you apply the conversion rates that are accurate, that are catered to the actual prospecting efforts that you do, then this will be a very fruitful business and it'll be very simple for you to calculate how much income you want to generate. So, but anyway, so like we were talking about, how many calls, how many conversations, how many appointments you set, how long it took you to do all that, right? On this now, the listing side of things, you want to, if you're setting listing appointments or preview appointments, now you want to go a little bit deeper and track out of all the listing appointments, you want to figure out how many of the listings are you actually setting, right? Or of the preview appointments, how many of them actually turn into listings. So this is going to be like an ongoing thing. So you got to keep tracking these numbers on a day-to-day basis, right? And on the buyer side, how many showings are you actually doing with each buyer to get them to an actual contract, right? To an offer. Out of all the offers that you're making, how many offers do you end up making before you actually get one accepted, right? So you want to track as many things as you can possibly, because all that number at the end of the year or in the middle of the year or whatever point in the year that you decide you want to start planning for the future, all this information is going to become extremely relevant. And you're going to be really glad that you can track this every single day. And so that kind of falls under the realm of that prospecting and productivity area, right? So following through with productivity, right? Out of all the offers that we got accepted, how many of them actually went from contract to close, right? And then of the listings that you actually got, how many of them were actually sold and what percentage of the actual original list price are they selling for? So you want to track all this information on a day-to-day basis, and you can do it simply on a piece of paper, and then at the end of the week, put it all in an Excel spreadsheet. There's different websites out there that allow you to do the number tracking, specifically to real estate. Our company uses something called CTE. I don't know if it's free. The company provides it for us, but you can utilize online source too. Just go into Excel, put it on your phone and app, and just put the numbers in day to day. The value or the benefit that you're going to get out of tracking your numbers daily is not going to be something you see today, tomorrow, next week, next month. Where you're going to really see it benefit you is whenever 6 months from now, when it's December time and you're ready to start planning for the next year, right? You're going to look at this and say, okay, so throughout the entire year, right, for every 10 calls that I make, I know that I'm going to get 4 conversations. And out of the 4 conversations that I have, right, 2 of them are going to list with me. If this is seller side prospecting, right? If we're looking specifically at our seller lead sources and our seller conversations. So now you know that for every 10 calls you make, you can get 2 listings. That is a fantastic conversion rate, by the way, so that's not a realistic expectation of a 20% conversion rate. If you do have a 20% conversion rate, keep doing that. You are doing something right there. But for the sake of this example, 2 out of every 10 calls. So now you know that if you want to have 10 listings, right, you're going to need to have 50 phone calls. Right, exactly. So that's the idea behind tracking the numbers, is so that you can say that with a lot more confidence in the future. And what's going to really blow your mind is throughout that entire next year, when you start to have those conversations, maybe you've improved on your scripts. Maybe you started to just be better with your conversations. Maybe you found a more fruitful lead source that's got just a little bit more motivated sellers, right? So now all of a sudden what you're going to see is out of these 10 calls that you're making, you were expecting 2, but whoa, lo and behold, you got 4, or you got 3, or in 1 week you got 5, right? So the goal here is to understand what are the bare minimum standards you need to be having as far as your activities. So a lot of times if people come in and they say, okay, well, I want to sell more real estate, what do I do? Well, these numbers are going to be the first thing that people are going to ask you no matter who you ask, whether it's a coach, whether it's a broker, whether it's a co-agent, or another fellow real estate professional, right? They're going to want to know what your numbers are so they can tell you exactly how it is. So that's what I have for you on number tracking. Hopefully this was of some sort of value to you.